Welcome to a Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization roundtable drive. This is our form of a podcast. When we go in investigating Bigfoot sighting locations, we want to show you the bigger area. One Bigfoot sighting I know of right here on the top, and then another report just on the other side of the top, down on our left at the tree line all the way back. That happened during hunting season. That was an aggressive sighting, scared the crap out of the guy. After he saw it, it started vocalizing towards him. After it went for cover in the trees. Like roaring at him and intimidating him. And he was armed. Yeah, if that was a hoax, someone was looking to get shot. And then the Sinks Bigfoot video that's coming up down here on our left, that was also during hunting season. Those were a couple of hunters that spotted it. They weren't actually hunting at the time. They left hunting camp and had to go down into town. But they very well could have. It was a half hour before official dark. Yeah, that was across the way during the fall where they filmed that. And then back on Swan Flats, in the trees up there, there's another sighting report. And then when we get down towards Beaver Mountain, there's a few. I was just here a few weeks ago. The snow's melting fast. It keeps melting at this speed. I could be hiking here in a few weeks. We are sitting right on the Utah-Idaho border. I just crossed over into Utah not long ago, and that Swan Flat Road that we just passed back there, you only go a couple miles back into that and you hit Idaho. And then Beaver Creek Canyon starts at the base of Beaver Mountain. You go back in there and you're on the Utah side, and it isn't very long before you switch over onto the Idaho side. So a lot of Bigfoot sightings along the Utah-Idaho border and on both sides, but a particularly large amount on this border section on both sides. We also spend a lot of time on the Idaho-Montana border area where the bombing incident happened. I mean, that happened well over 100 years ago, closer to like 120 years ago or better. However, even to this day, there's Bigfoot sightings in that area, so we love to go look around. Actually been several recent ones last few years. So whatever the creature was interested in over 120 years ago during the bombing Teddy Roosevelt time, whatever conditions there keep bringing the creature back today. Yeah, this is just a beautiful canyon. I'm in Logan Canyon, Utah. Both sides of the canyons for dozens, hundreds of miles, there's Bigfoot sightings. Yeah, after we investigated the Sinks video location, which happened several days, maybe even a week before we got up here, because the people that filmed it, we got up here the day after they sent the video to us. We come out, looked at that area, and then the direction the creature was traveling was this direction. So later on in the day, we made our way over here, and probably like 5 or 6 hours after we did that investigation, we started finding trackways on the creeks back in here. Same day we were doing that investigation, 5 more miles down the canyon, same day that we were casting the tracks and documenting them, 5 more miles south of here, several hunters at a hunting camp in Franklin Basin had a daytime sighting. Same day we were here. Crazy. And then you go another 30 miles to the south, and that's where Matthew come face to face with the Bigfoot a month later. Just a crazy string of events. The Bigfoot were definitely active in the fall in this canyon. And I say Bigfoot in the plural sense. We know that there was at least 2 of them by the footprints we were finding. Even though only one was filmed, we were finding 2 sets of tracks. One that had between 14 and 15 inches in length, and then another one that had 17 inches in length. And the crazy thing is Matthew come face to face with 2 Bigfoots a month later, after the filming and us finding the tracks. Yeah, I'm going out on a limb, and as rare as Bigfoot is, one of the Bigfoot that was filmed at Sinks was more than likely one of the 2 that was leaving the tracks along the Beaver Canyon area, and then the 2 Bigfoot that Matthew come face to face, probably the same 2. They were just working their way down south through this canyon. And I'm not saying particularly where we're driving, but in the forests on either side. Yeah, during the winter time, this part of the canyon has a lot of easy accessible areas to snowmobile, cross-country ski. But further south, where Matthew come face to face with those 2 Bigfoot, they close off a gate there up on top. Close it actually towards the bottom. And you just can't get over that pass anymore unless you're motivated and want to take side-by-sides or snowmobiles. But the general vehicle, like what we're driving now, people just can't get in there. So I think there's less people activity, so the Bigfoot may want to winter there. So during the hunt, I think they headed into that area knowing they're not going to get pestered by people, and there's the same resources there as there are here. Yep, Franklin Basin to your right there. There's some deer hunters camped back in there. And this is the same spot that I'm finding Bigfoot. They did the investigation of it crossing the road right here. Bobo actually ran across the road here to give the size comparison. Yeah, that plow truck driver, he had to go across the road in front of him wintertime, and then he gets down to the Tony Grove area and just absorbing what he had just witnessed, and it even looked at him at eye level after it cleared the road. His commercial plow truck, he's up there 9 feet in the air is about where his face is, and so that Bigfoot on the ground looking at him face to face, 9 feet tall. But he got down to Tony's Grove and kind of pulled off, absorbing and kind of in shock of what he just witnessed. And funny thing is, the Tony Grove area is another Bigfoot sighting hotspot. Many reports out of there. I've made a couple of videos of the Tony Grove area, including a couple of elk hunters' Bigfoot sighting report. They used to do their base camp in there until the one year they had Bigfoot cross the little dirt road that it used to be back in there, and they changed their annual Bigfooting camp to another location. They actually put it up on Monte Cristo, and on top of Monte Cristo there's a big concentration of sightings right up there. So I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter. They have just as big a chance to seeing the creature up there as they do at Tony's Grove. But I guess after you see the thing, these guys just didn't particularly like to be in the same area where they saw it. Yeah, I love that sighting report. Yeah, I used to work with the guy's wife. She's the one that told me about it and where it happened. I'm like, oh my head. I'm always up in that area looking around. We're just passing the Tony Grove turnoff. I used to take my kids camping a lot here. It's a fun place to camp, and I knew it was a Bigfoot sighting spot. Yeah, all my life I've always picked my sighting spots it's close to where I know sightings happen. So it's kind of been a hobby my whole life. It just didn't start throwing it on websites or YouTube or whatever until about 10 years ago. Yeah, as a hobbyist, before I started really stretching out and visiting other places, I spent a lot of time in this here canyon. And it's a damn good canyon. I mean, all the Bigfoot sightings that happened this last fall and into the early winter, just mind-boggling. Yeah, that Matthew Anderson investigation, we found hundreds, if not thousands, of tracks. I mean, there was that one section where we followed the Bigfoot tracks, and they went onto private property, and there was that power line easement that, you know, Bobo calls those easements Bigfoot highways. I guess there's a lot of sightings in those easements and stuff. And as far as I could see with that camera zooming in, I mean, for miles, those tracks stretched. Yeah, we stopped at the fence. They had it well marked that no trespassing, all that. But so we zoomed in with the cameras as far as we could go. You know, a lot of people are like, did you follow them? And it's like, yeah, we followed them until we couldn't legally keep following them. I know a lot of people are like, well, I would have kept going. Well, good for you. You know, they killed me not to be able to keep following them. But yeah, that was just amazing. We did track around where we legally could be and filmed them, took pictures and measurements and all that, but it was obvious that these two creatures that leave between 14 and 17-inch tracks, they'd been in that area for like a week. There was old melted out ones, brand new crisp ones, and then in between. So they'd either traveled back and forth through that area for a week, or they just hung out there for like a week. It's pretty neat. Yeah, on our left side up on the top is old Ephraim's grave, the largest grizzly bear to ever be recorded in Utah. Just about 100 years ago, at the turn of the century, like 1920s or whatever it was. Yeah, he was almost 10 feet tall, 9 feet 11 inches. I think they should just give him the inch. I mean, if he stands on his tippy toes even the slightest, or straightens out his back, you know what I mean? All intents and purposes, I'm calling that a 10-foot grizzly. But old Ephraim, and he weighed 1,200 pounds. Yeah, he had a bounty on his head. He had been harassing ranchers' livestock, killing their cattle and their sheep. And in one night, he killed like 15 sheep. Anyway, there was a bounty on him, and a trapper from Malad, Idaho, ended up getting him tangled up in some of his traps and took a couple of shots to take him down. The Smithsonian has his skull. And then they buried his body up there on the top on our left-hand side. A boys club, Boy Scouts I think it is, they made a memorial back in there for old Ephraim. And the memorial that has a plaque on it, it's a big rock memorial. They made it as tall as old Ephraim, so when you walk up there you get to see how big that bear was when he stood on his hind legs. They put a pretty cool poem about old Ephraim on there. So this bear that's 9 feet 11 inches tall, 1,200 pounds. I mean, before he started going after the easy livestock, there was plenty of food around here for him to get that big. So I'm going out on a limb, and if there's that 9-foot Sasquatch that the plow truck drivers and others saw in the area, I think there's plenty of food. If old Ephraim was surviving here. Yeah, I think Bigfoot's an omnivore, just like grizzlies and black bears are. Yeah, if you're going to get that big, you got to kind of pretty much eat anything that's available. Yeah, those bears will eat grass and berries and nuts, and then fish, venison, a squirrel if they can catch it. Yeah, and I've seen videos of those grizzlies taking on elk and heck, in an injured bison, or those wolves will take down a bison, and sometimes those bears will come in and try and take the kill. And I'm pretty sure if the wolves are well fed, they're willing to go take a nap and just let the grizzly eat on the kill for a little bit. Yeah, why not a squatch? Yeah, we spend a lot of time around the Yellowstone area too. All sides of the park, on the outside of that park, there's sightings, and on the actual park, I know of like right around 9 or 10 Bigfoot sightings on the BFRO website alone, just on the park. And then I've gotten a lot of reports from on and around that park. So we spend a lot of time on the fringes of that area camping. There's a little sweet spot between the Tetons and Yellowstone that we like to keep an eye on too. Some really remote areas. Yeah, that area is on my brain today. I made a blog post about a guy that he had a pretty good Bigfoot sighting on the north side of Yellowstone at one point in his life, and then on the east side. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but on the east side, over there by Du Bois, and then on the north side of Yellowstone, it was south of Billings. And I know there's some cool stuff, some cool Bigfoot sighting places in that area. The Crazy Mountains and the Beartooth Mountains. I think this guy was closer to the Beartooth Mountains that sent his sighting today. Or it was actually yesterday. I made, this morning before I come out here, I made the blog post about his sighting. I'll have to put that in the description of this video. I'll put the link. Yeah, you guys go down and check out the descriptions of a lot of the videos you watch. I'll put related videos down there, related sightings in the area, expeditions. And because at the beginning of this I talked about the Sinks Bigfoot video, I'll put that down in the description where we did the size comparison of the Bigfoot walking right there near that dry creek bed. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed our form of a podcast, Bigfoot Roundtable Drive. Keep on watching. We're going to keep on squatching.